Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of Find Ways to Win. I am your host, FitzgeraldStephens. Glad to be joining you guys in your living rooms, your office, wherever part of the world you're in. Hope everything is going great. It's a beautiful day where I live down here in central sunny Florida. And before I get ready to run a very important couple of errands, just wanted to talk to you guys about the subject of don't be afraid or dread starting over. Don't be afraid or dread starting over. Starting over, although it can be some very surmountable at times, insurmountable at times, so it seems it can be extremely difficult. I know what it is to put so much attention into a project, into a relationship. Years, literally years of my life, knowing that I'm not going to get out of a business and having it collapse, having it fail. Even to try to admit those words sometimes can be painful in itself. But you can't be afraid of beginning again with a new you, a more wiser you, and a more determined you to understand, that what the things that you had that you could have improved, that you could have done better, that you did wrong, that you didn't do enough of, and use that knowledge and that information to really get out there and create the success that seemed to have eluded you in the past endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, the past is gone. There's really nothing you can do about it. All you can do is maybe glean a couple of jewels from and wisdom, experience that you know what to do now in a better way. But you have to realize that failing is sometimes a part of life. It's often a part of life, even more so than people would like to admit. Many successful people have failed, and they're literally just too numerous to name. Failed in marriages, failed in businesses, failed being maybe being a good parents to their older children. And that's one of the reasons I think that the younger child and especially the grandchildren are so lavish with so much of seemingly more affections, because they realize they made the mistakes of that with the older children. They simply don't want to repeat that. They change. They come more mature within themselves, and they know how to look at things from a different perspective in order to know how to improve, to get the victory that so long eluded them when they didn't have the experience. In other words, they just failed. Many failures can be absolutely crippling. That you don't want to get up and fight again. You dread having to do that, having to begin the process all over again. I've been there. I've done that. But nevertheless, you have to get up. You have to get up and you have to start again. Just laying there and just sulking there and curling up in a corner is simply not an option if you're gonna find a way to win. You have to be in movement. You have to be in with more focus on how to achieve what eluded you. Now, let's talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about some of the crippling effects of failure. You It robs your energy. You don't want to do anything. You mull in your mind. You roll over and over and over again. You start mentally beating yourself up. And more importantly, you're simply afraid to try because you don't want to experience that level of pain again. And the dread comes in just the even notion that you're going to have to get out there and compete again. You're going to have to get out there and build a career, that you had a successful career. Or maybe you were fired, or maybe the company collapsed, or maybe you had a health crisis, and you had to leave that career. And you just don't want to get out there and build. You build a huge book of business, and you got to get out there, but it took so much energy, so many years of your life, so much time that you poured in that project, only to realize that is nothing. To get from that you have nothing to gain from it. I remember when I lost my first home through foreclosure, back with the bank debacle back in 2008. I worked so many years to get that home, and I had to build from the ground up, and I failed. It was foreclosed. No matter what I tried to do, no matter what should I say, what my wife and I tried to do, I couldn't hold it. I could not hold it. Couldn't things just poof, just disappeared. And I remember I remember driving, leaving the home, and looking back at it and thinking, like, God, all that time I put into that, all that money I put into that, that's for nothing. That's gone. I felt the same way when my marriage collapsed. All those years that I put into that, all that sacrifice. I mean, it's nothing. That's gone. And that was a hell of a blow to absorb. But I had to get up and try again. I knew I couldn't live in the streets. I knew that I didn't want to spend my life alone. I knew that things. I knew that I wanted a quality of life, and so I decided, hey, at least let me rebuild my career. Let me rebuild something. Let me get my mental focus back. Let me get out the stages of replaying what happened and what I could have done. And, oh, Fitzgerald, you're so stupid, and see, I told you so. You couldn't win. All these voices just talk to you. I had to dismiss those. I had to get rid of that. So I had to take one step at a time of climbing back up that mountain in order to achieve the fact of success that I deemed possible for me. So lo and behold, a couple of years later, I am still on that achievement progress. Things are starting to be fulfilled. I'm older now, but I'm much more focused in what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to achieve. I'm alone now. The marriage is gone. The house is gone. A lot of other things. And I have me, but I have a more focused, an older and determined me in order to really achieve what my goals. And here's what's happened through the process. I'm not in such a rush anymore. I'm constant in the time, but I realize, okay, sometimes you take too fast of a steps, that can be a disastrous step. So I'm very meticulous how I'm building, very meticulous, the steps I make, very meticulous of the career choices I align myself up with, extraordinary particular of the people who I allowed to be in my life. Where I'm not so giving anymore. I'm not so quick to say yes anymore. I have no problem telling you, I'll get back to you. Let me think about that. You can't rush me into decisions anymore. The once in lifetime opportunity, hey, they come around. They come around. I found more than once in a lifetime. So I'm more planning now. And I'm more consistent in the way I work. And I'm much more patient. And I'm getting these steps, and I'm getting these improvements that by first focusing on working on myself, and B, being thankful to God Almighty for giving me the life and even the health and strength to start over again, and just running my own pace. Yeah, I never really have been too much of a guy to really look at other people and see what their success and see what they're doing in their life, and measuring myself by someone else's success, because I know it's a losing battle. There's always going to be someone with more muscles than you. There's always going to be someone better looking at you, making more money to you, have a nicer looking spouse to you, have built a more successful business to you, score better grades in college to you. There's always going to be someone who is seemingly is doing it on a bigger and better scale to you. So if you start comparing yourself to other people and looking at what they have achieved, you will be miserable, because it always causes you to take your eyes off of your game, and you would get out of your lane. And even if you do achieve the measure of success that goal that you have, when you get there, you're still not going to be satisfied with it, because you're going to keep comparing yourself to other people. That is a huge form of dread right now. That is a huge form of dread. I was talking to a young lady, because I have I do a lot of mentorship with youth. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what sex you are. If you don't have like a father figure in the house imparting to you, that's really giving strong, good, wise, godly counsel, and many people I'm learning don't have that, or they have absentee fathers, or somehow they have a lack of direction. I in turn talk to them free. Sometimes do one-on-one consultations with them. Definitely, I won't charge them paid consultation like I would someone else when I do my coaching, my life coaching, as far as with people like an adult or something. I won't do that, because I know one, they don't have money, and number two, that's such a pivotal age to them. So I told her she was good. She had a couple of scholarships. One of the scholarships, she was talking about going to my alma mater. And so naturally I was excited about that. It was so as a 17-year-old, she was kind of, confused, but didn't know what she wanted to do. And I told her, hey, you got to be very careful that you don't start comparing yourself to what your friends or anyone else is doing, because you're never going to enjoy anything, when, even when you, even if you go to school, you're going to look at someone who probably went to a better school, and if they make more money than you're going to look at that. And her mother was right there present. Her mother never interrupted her and said, if you sit around there and you got a great husband, you're not going to be satisfied with him. You're going to be looking at someone else's, and you can't go through life not being satisfied with who you are and what you're doing. And as that relates to starting over again, ladies and gentlemen, you have to. Even sometimes when you reach the goal, or I often hear the statement from a lot of people, that it's a common statement, should I say, I'm good, I'm good. Well, you're not good if you're not continually setting goals. You're really not good. Actually, if you're not continually setting goals, you're not continually raising the bar on yourself, you're going backwards. Even if you have the nice retirement, even if you're making an income, you should still seek to improve yourself or to improve the life of others. You should never get to a point where you say, I have no other way that I can improve in every area of my life. I have no other way that or I have no desire that I want to help someone else improve. You never should get to that position. That's a dangerous position, and you're literally sliding backwards when you make the decision to do that. You have to look at yourself. Okay, I can do this better. If my body is in good shape, maybe I can create a training session so I can help other people in good shape. My body's not going to be in good shape continually if I don't put regiments and routines to keep it that way. If my finances in good shape, great. I love it. Maybe I need to learn more and add more onto my financial education, and go ahead and get education and experience on other financial instruments, vehicle instruments, so I can make sure that I don't lose my gains, or better yet, I have something to lead to my children, my grandchildren, whatever forth you have. Even those of us who have owned houses, we know that you have to get continually doing improvements to your house, or it's just going to decay. You have to continually do stuff, and you have to continually do the upkeep. Such is life. You can't be afraid. You can't dread the starting over process. Remember, you start over with more wisdom. You start over with more tenacity. You start over with more understanding, not only of the variables and the project, but you start over with more understanding of you yourself. You know what your triggers are. You know what your weaknesses are. You know what your strengths are. You know what type of people you need around you, and you know what type of people you dare not have around you. So you're wiser in that field, and then that's why generally when people do start over again, generally they're much more success than they were the first time. Why? Because they have accumulated all these tangible assets, more wisdom, more strength, more discernment, more patience, and more ability to understand the people who they need around them, whether those people are true or whether those people are not true. They know what the heck they're looking for. They understand cycles more. They're like, okay, if I keep going this way right here, this is about to collapse. Okay, if I don't need to give up on this, even though it looks tough, because I just know a little bit more. If I just push a little bit more and wait a little bit more patient, maybe a month or two, maybe 6 months or two, boom, the breakthrough is going to come. That it's going to go viral, or the people are going to really start filling in the orders, or to a way that I can't, that I better have the capacity to do it. Or I know I need that key personnel. I just hold on a little bit and do just a little bit more. I know how to look for them, like on a various social media pages, on my networking. My networking group is built stronger. Okay, I know not to extend myself as far as with borrowing money or giving up equity in my company too much, because I'm not going to have a company. This is why the second project is often greater than the first, because people have acquired its necessary tools that are going to propel them forward. So if you have failed first of all, understand something, whether it was your fault or it doesn't, or was it your fault, if a fault to market factors, something, okay, that doesn't matter. You get up, formulate your plan, tweak your plan, get you some counselors this time. You know, it's great to have passion with a good idea, but you have to have systems, and you have to have systems in place that are going to assure you that, you know, you have checks and balances as far as for every single process that's going to be necessary in order for you to find a way to win. Put you a master team together. Now you know what you're identifying. Maybe you know that high school friend you went, the high school friend, or that friend you went to college. Although they're a good person, they're not the right person for what you need to formulate your plan. You know, you need people who not only have you not primary. First of all, you need people who can do the job that you need them to do. Second of all, you need people who fit into the symmetry far as when you guys are harmonious in what you're trying to build. There's no cliques and groups. There's only the team. There's only the mission. And you know, you have to have that symmetry. You have to know what markets you're looking to expand in, and what about that market that who's your competition in that market. If you're looking to improve yourself, whether in relationships, whether in personal relationships or marital relationships, anything, what was it about you that led to the demise of that relationship? I mean, it's two people within a marriage. I certainly know it worked like that when I was married. What is it about you that you could improve? You know, it wasn't, you shared in the responsibility that you chose the spouse. You chose the spouse just as well as they chose you. How could you have got better? Not looking at this stuff about, well, she could have did this or he could have did this. I'm not talking about that. See, you can't start all over shifting blame again. You know, you can't start over and be successful shifting the blame. You have to look at you, because that's really the only person you can regulate. If you lost your health, what led to the collapse of my health? Was I working 19 hours a day, 6 and 5 days a week? That's unsustainable. Was I in the wrong type of job? What was I in the wrong market? See, you have to take inventory of where you are, and then and only then, when you clearly understand how the pieces are on the chessboard, then you start making meticulous moves for your betterment. And so that's the only way you use the past, to sit back there, look for it, and then you paint a picture as far as to where you go. And then you have the courage to get out there and fight. You got the courage to get out there and find a way to win. If you did it before, if you won before in the past, you can win again. You can win again. All you have to do is duplicate the success principles that got you where the position you were. And then the most important thing, you start looking out for the wolves. You start looking out for, okay, I slipped in this area right here. Because I slipped, this led to a demise, a continued demise in this area right here. And pretty soon the whole thing was unraveled. If I would have just dealt with that situation when it first came up, if I would have dealt with this issue, when it first came up. Hello, Miss Richmond. If I would have dealt with these things instead of letting them slide, instead of letting them slip, if I would have dealt with this lack of respect, or this lack of love within myself, or this person or this questionable loyalty, or I would have dealt with that right when it first came out. It never got to this point. If I would have controlled my finances better, if I would have did the things, if I'm building a great network marketing business or a business, if I would have focused more on the key customers, as opposed to running and leaving the people who had a huge majority of my company revenue, making them feel neglected. So some other competitor was able to come and take them from me, because you know what, I didn't have my eyes on the most important thing. You got to do this. You have to do this. If I'm starting over at a job, if I just wouldn't have got involved in the office politics, or if I just wouldn't have been a yes man, if I just went, or I would have been more assertive myself, and be a more be in a point where I could speak my mind in a peaceful, in a professional, intelligent way. I just kept to myself. You may be further in your career. And so once again, as the key component of the station, find ways to win. It's all about personal accountability, folks. It's all about personal accountability. Often there are times, and this is kind of hard pill to swallow. We have the keys in our own hands for our greatness or our demise. It's how we use it. Often, and I'm happy to report to you at this stage in my life, and I'm happy it goes for me, and it definitely goes for you. At this stage in my life, I have found out that my biggest enemy is me. No one can really trip me up, as far as with that. I mean, I consider myself too strong a will, too intelligent just to allow someone just to bait me into stuff. But often I baited myself. And by letting things go, or not being on a prize, or having too many irons in the fire instead of focusing on the right irons in the fire. And that applies to every single one of you, because every time we take a look at something, we evaluate, we learn the common denominators, and whether our victories or our failures is us. So I learned that if you change you, and you really sit forth and put more discipline in your life, and you're able to lead you can lead others, and you're able to see before something comes a major problem. My thinking is this. And I'm going to use farm analogy because I did grow up on a farm in Alabama, little small town Alabama. I don't like to chase the horse across the field. I just don't. I believe in securing the barn door, so I don't got to chase the horse at all. Other words, I work in a method of a preventative measure. My thing is preventative. That's how I run my life. I look to take steps to prevent a problem before it becomes a problem, to neutralize a problem before it even gets off the ground. And every time I have let that slip, I paid for it. I paid for it, and you can pay for it by just simply getting too comfortable. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, don't be afraid to start over. There's greater victory. You thought you had some measure of success. Then it is nothing when you start over, and you start over and you build again with the right knowledge, the right understanding about the situation, about the markets, about the individuals, and more importantly about you. Don't be dread. Don't get out like, oh God, I got to do the work again. Yes, yeah, you got to do the work, and you're not willing to do the work. This channel is not for you. If you're not doing the work, you will not succeed. You can't. You got to put yourself through the paces, and you got to love the work. You got to love going through the paces. You got to love that. You have to embrace that. You have to relish that opportunity, and more importantly, get out there and fight. Get out there and fight to be a better you, and to put a better project together. Celebrate your victories, but don't get your head so elated by it that you forget the necessary steps it's going to keep to maintain your growth. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have a very, very good afternoon. Thank you for coming thank you for allowing me to speak into your lives right now. Please like and subscribe and share to this. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the weekend, and hopefully with your help we can do it. Please feel free to shoot me an email. I welcome any feedback, and enjoy your day. And at this time, thank you. And you continue to find a way to win, because the key is always within you. Take care of yourself. Bye.